Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Lee. And thank you, of course, to Auntie Sandra. You were a very naughty, Auntie Jenny, I'm sorry. You were a very naughty girl. And gee, I'm glad you were. I think that's one of the most terrific stories I've heard. And I honour the first Australians on whose land we meet and whose cultures we celebrate as the oldest continuing cultures in human history. When we look back on this day, the 1st of July 2013, we will see this as one of the days that changed the face of Australia. When we look back in 2019, and we will see the full rollout of DisabilityCare Australia right across the Australian nation, with some 500,000 Australians supported by this scheme, we will know we have changed the face of Australia. And we will ask ourselves, why the bloody hell did we do it earlier? That's what we'll ask ourselves. And those of you who have been labouring in the field so long and hard, those of you Australians with disabilities, those of you who are their loving carers, those of you who have been there doing the hard yards, just from my heart to you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your service to your families and to Australia. The great thing about this great institution, DisabilityCare Australia, is that it will change the lives of people with disability. It won't solve every problem, let's just be real. We're going to make some mistakes on the way through, let's be real about that. I've never known anybody in life starting off something new where some mistakes aren't made. Even Prime Ministers make mistakes. I make quite a few. But you know something? It shouldn't get in the road of celebrating an enormous change of our nation, Australia, for the better. That's what we're here to do. For the first time, people with significant and permanent disability will have funding and support over their lifetimes. For the first time, people with disability will have individual choice to ensure independence and autonomy. For the first time, there will be a consistent policy across Australia of early intervention to lessen the progress of disability. This day has been a very long day in coming. Too long for many of you who are here. And this is the start. We've been committed to this program from the beginning. And I acknowledge again the work of all of you who have done the hard work. I said at an earlier function today, which Jenny was at, and Bruce Bonnie-Hady and others who were here, that this idea came forth at a national conference of ideas way back in 2008 called the Australia 2020 Summit, when this quietly spoken stirrer, Bruce Bonnie-Hady, stood up and waved his hand and said, "Isn't it time as a sophisticated nation such as Australia that we had a national disability insurance scheme?" From little things, big things grow. And without mentioning everyone that I mentioned in a speech earlier today, thank you to all of you, in government, outside of government, Commonwealth and state, you in the disability sector, as well as my predecessor, Julia Gillard, and ministers and parliamentary secretaries, Bill Shorten, and of course Minister Jenny Macklin, who worked so hard on this. This is a great achievement for our nation. We would call it a great achievement of an Australian Labor government. It's so much about our values as Australians. Values which for us are pretty important. What do we believe in as Australians? What is it that makes us tick? Half of our brain says, well, we believe in freedom, we believe in enterprise, we believe in innovation and creativity. And I celebrate each one of those things, so that's part of who we are. But equally etched into our DNA as Australians is our belief in equity, our belief in a fair go for all, and our belief in compassion. And we believe in the individual, but we also dare to believe in something called community. And guess what, Australia? We are all those things wrapped together. Sometimes, in the political process, people cherry pick, I'll have that value there, I'll have 2 parts of that value over there, I'll just let that one quietly slide beneath the radar. No. We actually are made up of all those things. And one of them is a fair go for all. Values which say we don't just leave people behind, values where we help them instead get ahead. Values that mean that we value people as human beings of dignity in their own right, not just valuing people for their economic worth. People like our MC today, Lee. I'll let you into a national secret. Lee and I have just starred in our own YouTube video together. I couldn't get him to shut up. Took over. That's what he's like. But I did ask him in our YouTube interview just out the back a little while ago. I said, mate, what does DisabilityCare Australia mean for you? His answer was really good and practical and to the point. He said, I'm about, for the first time in my life, moving out from the house of my mum and dad. Because I want to be independent. And DisabilityCare Australia, by organising the support services I will need at home, are going to make it possible for that to happen with me. And I get to have my own life. That was a terrific story, Lee. So look, you look up that YouTube. I think it's probably going to be on my website. The bloke doing all the talking is Lee. The bloke with the grey hair left of him, that's me. These are the values that have driven us to do this. But you know something? Values without action mean nothing. Values without finding the cold, hard cash kind of mean nothing as well. To turn ideas into reality, values into ideas, into policies, into programs that work and funding to make it all happen, and the good people represented in this room who become its flesh and blood. That's how it works. So I'd salute Jenny's extraordinary work in our Australian government budget process. Through this whole program, through this year's budget, we have $14.3 billion in further funding over 7 years for the national rollout. That's a bit of cash. Let me tell you, it's easy to make a speech. It's very hard to actually turn that into a funding reality which changes people's lives. And to those from the states and territories who have helped us on the way, I thank you as well. Even in my own state, the People's Republic of Queensland, just to the north of us here, just a bit up the road anyway. Pacific Highway, by the way, is getting better and better. Joel, Hunter Express, how's it going? Fitzgibbons Freeway. That's what we call it, isn't it? Something like that.
Just Fitzy.
Okay, Fitzy's Freeway. So you keep going up that way, up the New England or the Pacific, you'll end up in a place called Queensland. I've listened very carefully to my own disabilities sector there as a local member of Parliament. And I remember the parents of a little boy called Jaden coming in to see me in my office. And I've spoken about this in Parliament quite some time ago. He has a genetic disorder called 1p36.3 chromosome deletion. This results in frequent seizures which cause him to stop breathing, often in the middle of the night. If you're a parent, there's nothing more terrifying. Nothing more terrifying. And today we're starting to give his parents some peace of mind. His parents are quite young. When they came to see me, these parents were prematurely old because they just weren't getting enough sleep, frankly. It's just if you're on watch of a night to make sure that when your little boy Jaden has a fit and stops breathing, that one of you is there to make sure that he makes it through until the morning. So every Australian counts. Every little Australian like Jaden, every new YouTube star like Lee, everyone else in this room. Everyone in this country of ours is equal. We have equal rights in this country, and therefore we have equal dignity as members of the great Australian family. I could say a lot more. There's pages and pages of things for me to remember. I'm sorry, but I'm not. This is one of those good days in our national political life. You've seen some bad days. This is one of the good days. And what makes for a good day is that when the community, through local members of Parliament, local member Sharon Gris, I see up the back there, and others, Jill Hall's here, and the bloke up the back here as well. Team up with ministers like Jenny, Parliamentary Secretary Bill Shorten, speak to all of those of you from the community sector, work with our state government colleagues, New South Wales State Government, and we actually come together and make something work together, as opposed to the normal three-ring circus act which constitutes a lot of our national political life, which you see on television, replete with performing dogs and people jumping through hoops. That's as it shouldn't be. This is as it should be. Congratulations, DisabilityCare Australia.